Hello and welcome to Grocer Pod. My name is Sean Kosednar. Today I'm joined by Nick Arlt from NCR Freshop. We are going to help AWG members, retailers maximize their profits with e-commerce. Before we get to Nick, I want to remind you to please subscribe to Grocer Pod. Subscribing means new episodes will be downloaded for you each week. You can find Grocer Pod on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or any other platform you use. Thanks for joining me today, Nick.
Thanks for having me, Sean.
So I've talked about Freshop on Grocer Pod before, but why don't you start by telling everybody what Freshop is and what's new in 2024?
So Freshop is a digital engagement platform. We'd like to say we're more than just e-commerce because we really are. We get involved in a grocer's website, apps, the digital marketing, a lot of those types of things, in addition to being an e-commerce platform. And as far as what's new this year, we have a number of different things that we're looking to roll out, upgrade features, et cetera. At a very high level, some of our areas of focus are going to be improving search capabilities, looking to improve capabilities around prepared foods and catering. And we have some operational efficiency improvements that we're going to be making on the platform as well.
That's very exciting. Here at AWG, we're really proud of our retail marketing network. How does Freshop fit into the RMN?
So right now, Freshop is the only partner that you're able to experience the retail marketing network from AWG in whole, in its totality. So we have a great partnership with AWG that allows a retailer site to have a number of different ways that brands are able to get visibility on that site for the consumer. We try to have a nice balance between allowing that visibility without it being too much for the consumer. We obviously want the consumer experience to be the number one piece, but the ability really is to make sure that the consumer is aware of products, so it expands that product awareness capability. And certainly, as part of the retail marketing network, then would allow the retailer to then gain some additional dollars as another revenue channel to help with their e-commerce or digital profitability.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that revenue sharing, because I know that's a really big topic, and we want to make sure our retailers really know what's going on there.
Yeah, so with the partnership, we have our own platform. So we have partners that help to get we have our own relationships with, and we have a third party that has relationships with the CPGs, Coke, Craft, et cetera, and populate the different platforms with the visibility piece, whether it's a promoted product in a shop grid or a search capability. So a consumer searches for pizza and like DiGiorno pops up as an example as your first item on the list. And the ability there is really so that the retailer and AWG can be hands-off if they want to, so we can handle that completely. And then separately, AWG has their own relationships with those CPGs, and they're bringing in campaigns specifically. So it's layered then on top of what we're doing. So the retailer really benefits. If they don't want to lift a finger from that perspective, it can just happen on their site where they get this great product awareness so that consumers add more to their cart. So it's bigger carts, more sales, that kind of a thing. And they get a nice revenue stream that way. And then we do have some capabilities if the retailer wants to participate directly. But that way, the hard work, if you will, or the manual part of it, as far as the relationships with the CPGs, getting campaigns set up, the creative, et cetera, is all seamlessly done in the background between Freshop and AWG. And then it just flows through for the retailer, and then they get then that share of revenue.
I think that's the best part for the retailers, being able to be hands off if they want to be, because we know how busy that they are. And that's one of the things that I love most about Freshop is just how seamless and easy you make everything for the retailers, because obviously they have a lot of things going on when it comes to running their stores, and running e-commerce platforms isn't always top of their mind.
Almost my entire career has been on the retail side. I've been in grocery for nearly 30 years. Almost all of that has been on the retailer side. It was until I joined the Freshop team, NCR Freshop team, that I got out of the retailer side. So I can relate. I've been on that side to know that you have a lot of things going on. I don't have time to necessarily focus on this piece. So to your point, that's where that AWG and Freshop partnership can be so strong. is as a retailer, I can be as involved as I want and have it more custom to me and make sure it works, or I can back off and that partnership can help to take over to make things happen much more easily.
Omnichannel has been quite the buzzword over the last year or two. Why is it still important to offer different ways for customers to shop?
Yeah, it's hard because it is so overused and it's cliche and all of the things. But really what it comes down to is that consumer experience, like I touched on a little earlier, is people have a tendency to label or box consumers to say, oh, this person's an in-store shopper, or this person's an online shopper, or this person has kids, so they always shop for their kids, or whatever that might be. Reality is we're all people and we have different needs at different times and do things for different reasons at different times. So if I have kids, it doesn't mean that it's always my primary focus. There's times that I need to shop for myself. If I'm at work and I need a quick lunch, I'm going to run over to the store, grab a few things. That type of a thing has nothing to do with my kids. Or, if I'm shopping for my household for the week or for a few days, then certainly I keep my kids in mind. But I want to be able to do the shopping, planning, etc., exploration whenever I want to. So if it is that work scenario, and I need to hop on the retailer's website, place a quick order for a sandwich and a drink and add a couple of items that I'm going to stop, was going to stop for on the way home, I could run in during my lunch hour, grab that food, grab the items, and then head back to the office. Or, if I want to put an order in and grab it on my way home for the day. Or, if you put the kids to bed and you've got a little bit more time at night, be able to look for recipes, et cetera, you could build a shopping list with the idea then of, going in on Saturday or whenever your regular shopping day is. So you need to be able to have that consumer do whatever research they want, from meal planning, menu planning, aspects of things, seeing what you have on sale for the week, all the things that go into that planning piece. Be able to make a list, bring it in store, go in store, digital coupon pieces from a savings perspective. I want to be able to see what your digital coupons are online. I might use that for an online order, or I might use that for an in-store order. I want to be able to have that maximum flexibility so that the relationship I have with that grocer can serve me as best I can, and I can get everything I need. That's really, to me, the omni-channel part, is allowing that consumer to do whatever she wants to, whenever she wants to.
That makes a lot of sense. What are some best practices AWG members should focus on when it comes to e-commerce?
That's a great question. To me, just having been, in and around grocers for nearly 30 years, I think a lot of times still people think of e-commerce as this separate thing. If you're a grocer, it's a very tough business. It's a very small margin. You have to be very strong operationally to be able to even stay in business. And you have to learn how all the different pieces work to operate. E-commerce is an extension of what you already know. So you need to be able to have the products on the shelf. They need to be merchandised, priced right, look good, all of those kinds of things. And those are the core, that's 80, 90% of what e-commerce is. So if you think of it as an extension of your store or like another department, to be successful, it's really that. It's making sure that your online store looks good, like your in-store store does, and making sure that you have the right products. Do they have an image? Do they have the right description so that the consumer knows what it is? You think of a loaf of bread. You have 30 different options for bread in your store, and one line is going to have, 5 different types of bread, and there's such small variations of purple or blue or whatever the label is. The consumer a lot of times shops with their eyes, so they need to be able to see that bread. And then the description needs to make sense of saying, okay, this one is multigrain, or this one is, whatever that is. And then make sure all your products are that, especially your best-selling, most important products. Then looking at the operations, just like running your grocery department or your meat department or whatever it is, making sure that you have the standards in place or KPIs, to be able to measure what's happening. Are you efficient in what you do? Are your shoppers picking the right number of items per hour? Or are there ways that you can make it more efficient? A piece would be like your walk path, for example, to make sure you have the most efficient trip through your store so that your shopper gets everything, but doesn't have to double back at any point, and handle it that way. Substitutions, making sure that your shoppers know there's the customer service aspect of communication to not surprise the consumer. To say, hey, we're out of this. Do you want this kind of a thing? But also to make sure that there's that efficiency piece to allow them to keep going and get that order ready for that customer. And then the last part of it is the marketing or awareness part of it. And a lot of grocers will start there. I think just inherently, we think we have an awareness problem. So let's do marketing. Let's push things. It's really got to be in that order. Make sure your site's in order. Make sure your operations are in order. Then make sure you tell people about it. If you start with the awareness piece, whether it's in-store type marketing or paid, what if it works? You're going to have your consumers come to an experience that's not very good. So making sure that your website and your operations are in order, and then tell people about it. And it's more than just saying, hey, we have e-commerce. During the pandemic, it was enough to have the field the dreams approach, if you will. If you build it, they will come. Now e-commerce really isn't a differentiator. So you, just like with your physical stores, you have to give a consumer a reason to shop with you. Is that convenience? Is that quality? Is that service? Those types of things, keeping in mind with your e-commerce program and tying that together. Why should somebody shop with me? And then doing things like promotions to make sure you get them in to try it. So getting that person to try it for the first time. What is your focus there? Then once they try it after their first order, what do you have in place to get them to come back a second time? What do you have in place to get them to come back a third time? You really have to build that habit. Is it a handwritten note saying, hey, thank you very much for your order. We really appreciate it. Please let us know if there's anything we can do better or differently. That kind of a thing goes such a long way with the consumer. You can surprise and delight people. On a hot summer day, bringing out a cold bottle of water, to the car and say, hey, thank you very much for your order. Here's some water on us, kind of a thing. And it's really just looking at those same things that you do in store to try to differentiate online.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And that leads me really into my question is, it's 2024. Lots of grocers, most, I would say, have e-commerce of some level. But I hear from so many that are like struggling for customers, like they have it. But it's not super profitable for them. They're feeling like it's a lot more work than they're actually getting out of it. Like, what do they need to do? Do you think that they need to go back to the beginning and really look at their site and their process and all of that? Is that what's holding them back? Is it, are they not highlighting like that their service enough? What are some of the things that you're seeing retailers struggling with?
That's a great question, Sean. We see this quite often with grocers that got into e-commerce, and they maybe don't quite know how to run the best business. They know how to be grocers, they know how to run the business generally, but either their sales have plateaued or possibly dropped off a little bit, or basket size, whatever it might be. And so it's really, I broke it down earlier. The way I break it out is those three categories. So it's your website in terms of visibility, merchandising, et cetera, your operations, and then your marketing and awareness, and really drilling into each of those areas. So looking at your site, and then you're a grocer. So you don't have a normal relationship with a grocery store like a consumer does. So asking friends or family or other people that aren't in the grocery business, even your spouse or significant other, can be biased because they're around you and you talk grocery all day, every day. That's your life, basically. So having somebody that's not in grocery, ask them to go to your website. Hey, what are things that we can improve on? Does it make sense? Have them place an order. You need to be placing your own orders to see how it works and make sure it works. But when you place an order, your team knows it's you. So you're going to get great service. You're going to get great communication and great substitutions. If that friend or family places that order, see what they experience. And they may notice or pick up on small things that maybe you don't notice. They get to the store and it takes 10 minutes or more for that order to get out to the car. The substitutions weren't great, or they missed an item, or some of those kinds of things to try to see, do you have gaps? And then another misconception at times too is people think that the consumer knows what they offer. You think that people know you have e-commerce because you have it and you've had it for years. The consumer generally doesn't know those things. It's not their top priority. So making sure there's that awareness piece. And then, as I touched on before, it's not just making the consumer aware, but giving them the why I should shop with you, and then giving them that urgency and offer something. Place an order this week and get a free 12-pack kind of a thing, or whatever it might be, giving them some sort of urgency to not just place an order, but place it right now. That would be the high level. But that's where, too, you mentioned the partnership before between AWG and Freshop. We have that partnership, and we can help the grocers to make sure they know what the opportunity is and how to run an e-commerce business or how to run it better. If you have operational challenges or profitability, we can help with that.
That's great. So I think about myself, I should be a prime e-commerce shopper, very into technology, spend my whole day on the internet. And I don't. I don't do it. I don't think about it. It never crosses my mind, even when it would be much easier for me. I still, go into the store and go and get the two things that I need and leave. Do you suggest that retailers are trying to go after people like me that have not shown any interest in e-commerce shopping to this point, or should they just keep serving me in the store where I feel more comfortable?
Yeah, that's such a common scenario. I equate it to that new restaurant in town. I'll be driving through town with my wife. We'll drive past it. Oh, we really need to go there. I heard it's great, or we haven't tried it yet, or haven't heard anything about it. We definitely need to go there. And then it gets to be Friday night or whatever. We're looking for a restaurant to go to. Hey, where should we go? I don't know. And off the top of your head, you're thinking all the places you normally go. You forget about that new restaurant. How do you get that new restaurant to bubble up to your head? Like you said, you're the prime target for e-commerce, but you don't think about it. That's where you really need to create that awareness, the why, and the urgency. So trying different kinds of promotions, like I mentioned before, the idea of giving away a 12-pack to say, hey, place an order this week or this month and get a 12-pack. If you don't drink soda, that does nothing for you, but it's a pretty high value. Then try something different. During the pandemic, we had people giving away rolls of toilet paper, get a 8-pack or 12-pack of toilet paper, trying to think of something relevant. If one of your differentiators as a store is product quality and freshness, if you have a great bakery or great deli, give away a tub of cookies or give away something like that, where it's a giveaway that can attract people and it helps to show a differentiator of your store that you get trial of that product. But if you try different kinds of things that way, if you charge a pick fee, you can say no pick fee on your first 3 orders, kind of thing, to help as an ongoing type of promotion. But it's really trying to think about, okay, who are my target shoppers in my store? How do I target them to make sure that they're shopping with me? And then some people get concerned about cannibalizing, quote unquote, the in-store shopper for online. That's, again, you have to break down those walls. People aren't one or the other. That's the omni-channel conversation we had before. How do you really get those people to shop with you whenever and wherever? So thinking of shoppers that have families, or, that there's a single person or a couple, different age groups, different dietary restrictions. So doing different promotions at different times for those different people and make it seasonally relevant. If it's the Super Bowl coming up, or if it's summer grilling or the holidays, thinking of something that you can use that way as a seasonally relevant item, because they're already thinking that. So, it's summer. I can't wait to grill out this summer. So give away a package of, hamburgers and buns or something like that. Say, hey, if you place an order, we'll give you this, because it's tying into a need they already have in a thought. You pull them in a little bit, got their attention. Now get them in to place that order. And then 2, if you get them once, make sure you have a program in place that you get them back a second time. That handwritten note, give them a coupon to say, hey, $5 off your next order if you place it within the next 2 weeks, the next month, something like that to get them to come back again. Is really that focus.
Yeah, I really like the sounds of that. Before we switch topics, is there anything else that you think AWG member retailers need to know about e-commerce in general in 2024?
Yeah, I would think part of it we're hearing and seeing is we're post-pandemic now. So grocers that have had e-commerce prior to or during the pandemic got that huge surge. So if you're comparing year over year numbers, it may be that you're down, that 2022 and especially 2023 was a pretty down time. We're starting to see that uptick again. We have a number of grocers that had an uptick in sales in 2023, and in 2024 we expect that to continue, with that path. You have the pandemic lockdowns and all those kinds of things over. So it's really looking at your business and seeing where you are compared to where you were a year ago or 2 years ago, and see, are you having growth? And then trying to identify why you're not. Is there a plateau or is there a drop off? Is it some of those other options? Maybe it's your hours. You don't have enough hours for pickup times. You're not opening early enough, or you're not staying open late enough that I can grab something before work, after work, on the weekend mornings, before or after church kind of a thing. It might be that your slots are full. You're only have enough space for 2 orders or 5 orders during this half-hour window. Maybe you're at capacity. So if I want to pick up on a Saturday morning, the earliest I can get is 10:30 or 11 a.m., and that's too late for me. So it's some of those kinds of things of looking at your business. And again, you mentioned the AWG retailers. AWG is really knowledgeable, and you have this wonderful resource to help you, and you don't have to feel like you're in it alone. So you have this AWG team, and then you have that partnership too with Freshop, where we can help you to try to identify, where am I stagnated? Why am I slow? What can I do differently? And the idea is not to give you these 30 things. Just quickly go do these 30 things, because you don't have time for that. What are the 1, 2, 3 things that you could do that are more bite-sized, that are going to have an outsized impact on your business, and how to improve that?
Yeah, very good points. There's so many people in this community. That's the whole reason why it's a co-op model, that like there are so many people here working together that can help individual retailers find some success. So, Nick, before I let you get out of here, can you give listeners a sneak peek of what they can see at your booth at the upcoming Innovation Showcase?
So the Innovation Showcase, you'll get the chance to see and meet the people from Freshop. You'll see what our product is. As I touched on, we have the digital part, the e-commerce piece, et cetera. You can really see what that is and how it can work for you. Or if you're an existing AWG and Freshop customer, are there any new things or something to be aware of? Some of the conversations we've had today, but really trying to show people, here's all the different possibilities. We want to be your partner. By we, I mean AWG and Freshop. We want to be your partner now and in the future. So we have quite a few different integrations that can help you with your current business. And we're thinking forward to say, hey, what is a grocer going to need middle of 2024? What are they going to need in 2025? So you get a chance to interact and see what makes sense for your business. Do you have inventory? We support inventory. So if that's a big focus for you, how do you handle inventory? Freshop, what can you do with it? If you don't have inventory, maybe you don't have digital coupons, or you don't have a delivery program. What are some other ways that you can expand it?
Yeah, I encourage everyone to stop by the booth when Showcase comes around. Nick, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sean. This was wonderful.
And thank you all for listening. Again, please like and subscribe to Grocer Pod so you can automatically hear all the latest things going on around AWG. And until next time, this has been Sean Kosednar for Grocer Pod.